Good afternoon, students. So today we are going to talk about infections of respiratory tract. So before moving to the theory, you should know what are the aims and objective of this theory class. You should be able to understand about general principle of pathogenesis of respiratory tract infections, those difference in upper respiratory tract infections and lower respiratory tract infections, agents of infections in URTI and LRTI, and prevention and treatment. So why is this important? The respiratory tract is the most commonest site for contraction of infection due to direct contact with microbes which are present in the air, and it is continuously exposed to the microorganisms which are suspended in the environment and air. Respiratory tract infections may occur in the nasopharynx, oropharynx, middle ear, and paranasal sinuses, epiglottis, larynx, trachea, bronchi, and bronchioles, and lungs. So, this is an overview of infections of respiratory tract system, anatomy of the respiratory tract system, pathogenesis of respiratory pathogens of respiratory tract system. That includes bacterial infections, viral infections of upper respiratory tract, lower respiratory tract, viral infections of upper and lower respiratory tract, and fungal infections of the respiratory system. So this is an overview of which are the infections of respiratory tract system. We will see about the anatomy of respiratory tract system, the pathogens which are involved in causing infection, that can be bacterial or viral and fungal infections. Okay. So respiratory system is a major portal of entry for infectious organism. It is divided into two tracts, upper and lower. The division is based on structures and functions of each part. The two parts have different types of infections. The upper respiratory tract has nasal cavity, sinuses, pharynx and larynx. Infections are fairly common of these particular sites. Usually they are nothing more than an irritation. Lower respiratory tract involves lungs and bronchi. Infections here are more dangerous and can be very difficult to treat. Now we'll see the anatomy of respiratory tract system. Most of the accessible system in the body. Breathing brings in clouds of potentially infectious pathogens. The body has a variety of host defense mechanisms. Innate immune response, which involves the cells and mechanisms that defend the most of the host factors in defending infections by other organisms in a non-specific manner. Adaptive immune response. Here, the adaptive immunity, because the body's immune system prepare itself for the future challenges. The upper respiratory tract and the lower respiratory tract involves nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx in the upper respiratory tract, lower respiratory tracts, trachea, primary bronchi, and lungs. So upper respiratory tract is continuously exposed to potential pathogens. Lower respiratory tract is quite essentially a sterile environment. Those pathogens of respiratory system, mainly bacteria, organisms that infect the respiratory system. Upper respiratory tract also a portal of entry for viral pathogen. Vaccination has eliminated many respiratory infections, but still they are seen in underdeveloped parts of the world. So pathogens of respiratory tract system, they're responsible for causing common cold like parainfluenza, diphtheria, streptococcal throat infection. Diphtheria causes otitis media, then inhalation of anthrax, chlamydia pneumonia, tuberculosis, pertussis, pneumococcal pneumonia, Q fever, legionellosis, respiratory, acute respiratory tract syndrome, SARS-CoV-2, pneumocystis pneumonia, hentapulmonary syndrome, respiratory syncytial viruses, histoplasmosis, plastomycosis. So these are all pathogens of respiratory tract system. These respiratory pathogens are essentially easily transmitted from human to human. They circulate within community, infections spread easily. Some respiratory pathogens, they exist as a part of the normal flora. We are now experiencing the pandemic of coronavirus, SARS coronavirus 2, that is COVID disease, and we are experiencing it very closely. So we know how these respiratory pathogens are easily transmitted from human to human. Seeing the density and the infectious nature of these viruses, you can you can get the idea how they are circulated within the community. Some respiratory pathogens, they exist as a part of the normal flora. Others acquire from animal sources, water, air, etc. Fungi are also a source of respiratory infections. Usually, they are seen in immunocompromised patients. Most dangerous fungus which can cause respiratory infections are Aspergillus and Pneumocystis pneumoniae. Pathogens of respiratory systems. Some pathogens are restricted to certain sites. Legionella only infect lungs. Other pathogens causes infection by multiple sites. That includes streptococcus. They can cause middle ear infections, sinusitis, and pneumonia. Sites of infections. Frequent sites of infections are middle ear, mastoid cavity, nasal sinuses, nasopharynx. Defense of respiratory system involves the respiratory system has significant defenses. Upper respiratory tract has mucociliary escalator, coughing, and lower respiratory tract has alveolar macrophages. So, normal human mucociliary escalator traps debris and bacteria which are then moved to the esophagus and out of the respiratory system. You can see in the diagram, if they reaches to the lungs, alveolar macrophages are the important part of the host defense. And then next part is the mucus of the chest wall and diaphragm. They are important in coughing and clearing the secretions from the respiratory tract system. These all are inhibited in viral infections, can disrupt the function of the respiratory epithelium, which allows bacteria to enter the respiratory system. Bronchial carcinoma can obstruct a bronchus, and infection can arise behind the obstruction. Trauma or abdominal surgery can affect the ability to cough. Bacteria infecting respiratory tract system can be divided into groups depending upon the infections they cause. Otitis media, sinusitis, mastoiditis. These are the portions of temporal bone of the skull, that is behind the ear, which contains open air containing spaces. Pharyngitis, typical and atypical community acquired pneumonia, hospital nosocomial pneumonia. Bacteria that are infecting, those are responsible for causing otitis media, sinusitis, mastoiditis, streptococcus pneumoniae, Haemophilus influenzae, Staphylococcus aureus, group A streptococci. Pharyngitis causing organism are group A streptococcus, group C streptococcus, corynebacteria, chlamydia pneumoniae, mycoplasma pneumoniae. And the treatment for streptococcus pneumoniae includes ampicillin, erythromycin, Haemophilus influenzae causing otitis and sinusitis or mastoiditis includes amoxicillin, ciprofloxacin, staphylococcus causing otitis media, sinusitis, mastoiditis can be treated with flucloxacin, erythromycin, ciprofloxacin, group S streptococci can be treated with amoxicillin, benzyl penicillin, group S streptococcus responsible for causing pharyngitis can be treated with amoxicillin, benzyl penicillin, group C streptococci, same amoxicillin and benzyl penicillin. Corynebacteria can be treated with erythromycin, an antitoxin, chlamydia pneumoniae, erythromycin tetracycline, mycoplasma pneumoniae, erythromycin tetracycline. Bacterial infections of upper respiratory tract, laryngitis, epiglottis, otitis media, mastoiditis, and sinusitis, pharyngitis, scarlet fever, and diphtheria. Okay. So, upper respiratory tract infections present commonly as two types: pharyngitis, more common, and tonsillitis, the secondary one. Clinical presentation of pharyngitis, sore throat. This is the most common presentation and usually manifest as high-grade fever, Other features include cervical lymphadenopathy and the presence of exudates on the tonsillar area. If the infecting agent is Corynebacterium diphtheria, responsible for causing diphtheria, a pseudomembrane may be present at the site of infection. In viral infection, the main feature are runny nose with cough and fever. So etiological agent for upper respiratory tract infection, bacteria, responsible agents of respiratory tract infections, bacteria listed below, Streptococcus pyogenes, Corynebacterium diphtheria, Mycoplasma pneumoniae, Staphylococcus aureus, Haemophilus influenzae, Streptococcus pneumoniae, group B Streptococci, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, atypical mycobacteria, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, Bordetella pertussis, Klebsiella species, Neisseria meningitidis. Then we can again add into that like Acinetobacter species. So these are the bacteria responsible for causing URTI. Next, we'll see the list of viruses responsible for causing URTI, upper respiratory tract infection. That includes adenoviruses, rhinoviruses, influenza, Coronaviridae family that includes SARS, MERS, SARS-CoV-2, respiratory syncytial virus, parainfluenza virus, Epstein-Barr virus, ecovirus, measles virus, Varicella zoster virus, fungi that can cause upper respiratory tract infection. That includes Candida albicans, Aspergillus species, Cryptococcus neoformans, Histoplasma capsulatum, Ballan B. dermatitis, C. imitis, and P. So these are the fungi. Parasites which are responsible for causing upper respiratory tract infection includes Paragonimus westermani, C. sensis, A. Ascaris lumbricoides, Ankylostoma duodenale. Now, collection and transportation of specimen. Collection in case of bacterial infecting agents. 2 throat swabs should be collected, one for direct microscopic examination and other for culture from the tonsillar pilus. If diphtheria is suspected, a part of membrane must be taken for processing. In case of viruses, nasopharyngeal swabs, as you all know, in today's pandemic, we are seeing that these are the most preferable specimen for diagnosis. Again, you can collect aspirates or throat washings, calcium arginate or Teflon coated swabs can be used for collection of specimen nasopharyngeal swabs for virus detection. Serum is collected in case of streptococcal pharyngitis or infectious mononucleosis is suspected. Next, we'll see the laboratory diagnosis. Gram staining is used to identify gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. Albert stain is used for detecting Corynebacterium diphtheria, which can demonstrate the metachromatic granules or the wave zone granules. Then we can move for culture, where culture can be done on blood agar containing 5% of sheep blood. It can be incubated under 5% of carbon dioxide environment overnight. For diphtheria, you can culture it on low flow serum slope and potassium tellurite agar. In case of fungus, we can use saprolite dextrose agar for fungus such as candida and others, which can the approach to diagnose upper respiratory tract system can be seen here for upper respiratory tract systems. Upper respiratory tract infections for suspected viral for suspected bacterial URTIs, we can see first throat swabs and specimen from the suspected part of membrane can be collected, or we can collect the serum in case of streptococcal pharyngitis. And we can perform ASO on that serum, and from the throat swab and membrane, we can perform gram microscopy, which include gram stain and Albert stain, detection of diphtheria. Culture, we can culture it on blood agar. In case of diphtheria, we can culture it on low flow serum slope, and then we can perform antibiotic sensitivity using Kirby-Bose diffusion method. Okay. In case of suspected viral infections and fungal infections, first we'll see viral infection. For suspected viral upper respiratory tract infections, you have to collect nasopharyngeal swabs and aspirates and throat swabs. You can also collect serum from nasopharyngeal swab. We can perform cell culture for adenovirus, Epstein-Barr virus, HCV, influenza, and coronavirus. We can also now we have the molecular test which we are using for this in this pandemic for this COVID for detection of SARS-CoV-2, that is RT-PCR, and that can also be applied for rest of the viruses also. Okay. Then serum can be collected for Pont-Banil test in case of infectious mononucleosis for detection of anti-Epstein-Barr virus IgM. Also, again in SARS-CoV-2, we are detecting the IgM as well as IgG using rapid antibody detection test. Also, we can detect antigen also in this SARS-CoV-2 using antigen detection. Recently added in the diagnosis of this COVID infection. So this is the flow chart for upper respiratory tract infection for suspected viral upper respiratory tract infections. For suspected fungal upper respiratory tract infections, you have to collect the specimen and directly culture it on SDA. You can perform gram staining that can only reveal you gram positive yeast cells, yeast-like cells, and then you can culture it on saprotex, and then you can perform the flow of diagnosis that if it is a candida or crypto, depending upon microscopy and other identification methods, like you have to perform chlamydospore, sugar assimilation test, and all for that. Okay. For speciation of candida, you can perform germ tube test, chlamydospore test. Okay. So this is the approach for diagnosis of upper respiratory tract infections. In case of lower respiratory tract infections, pneumonia syndromes may be present as acute in case of community or acquired or nosocomial, subacute or chronic in case of pulmonary tuberculosis, fungal aspiration pneumonia, and lung abscesses diseases, and as pneumonia in immunocompromised individuals. So lower respiratory tract infection, in this pneumonia is the most important presentation, which can be seen as acute pneumonia, chronic pneumonia, and pneumonia in immunocompromised. Acute can be seen in community-acquired infections and nosocomial infections. Chronic or subacute can be seen in tuberculosis, fungal infection, aspiration pneumonia, lung abscesses, and pneumonia in immunocompromised individuals. That is another part which can be seen in case of immunocompromised individual, like infected with HIV, for example. Clinical presentation in adult acute community acquired pneumonia, the main presenting feature are cough, fever, and chest pain. Acute healthcare associated nosocomial pneumonia tends to occur in comatose patient and those with a left ventricular failure or who have been intubated or anesthetized, and those who are on the ventilator. In chronic pneumonia, the main presenting feature are chronic cough, fever, night sweats, and weight loss. In lung abscesses, the main presenting feature are chest pain, cough, and fever. Collection and transport of specimen. Sputum is a good sample and easy to collect if cough is present but not productive. The patient should be asked to first inhale hypertonic saline, which may induce the production of sputum, which is then collected. If the patient is not able to provide sputum sample, then an endotracheal aspirate or bronchoalveolar lavage BAL specimens can be collected from lower respiratory tract infection. If the patient is on ventilator or intubated, a non-bronchoscopic lavage or bronchoalveolar lavage sample may be collected to diagnose ventilator-associated pneumonia, that is VAP. Now we'll see approach to diagnose upper pneumonia. Here you can see pneumonia can be divided for pneumonia. You can collect sputum, which can be spontaneous or induced, endotracheal, aspirate, bronchoalveolar lavage, non-bronchoalveolar, ventilator, lavage, and serum. These specimens can be collected. You can perform microscopy on sputum, which can be done for demonstration of the organism by methods such as gram stain or ZN stain. Gram stain can reveal bacteria and fungi. ZN stain can reveal mycobacterium, mostly tuberculosis. Culture can be performed using blood agar, chocolate agar, McConkey agar. Most of the bacteria can cultivated on these agar. Algae medium can be applied when you suspected infection with Mycobacterium tuberculosis. In case of chlamydial infection, you can use McCoy cells. For fungal etiological agent, you can perform it on Saprotextrose agar and Legionella culture for Legionella. And after the process of cultivation of these organisms, we can go for identification. We have already learned about the methods of identification. I will not repeat it here. And then we can perform antibiotic sensitivity using Kirby-Bose disc diffusion methods. Then endotracheal aspirates, bronchoalveolar lavage, non-bronchoalveolar lavage, to ventilator lavage. We can perform cell culture directly on it because here mostly the suspecting agents are viruses like influenza virus, the pandemic virus, that is SARS-CoV-2, parainfluenza virus, cytomegalovirus, respiratory syncytial virus, and the next one is pneumocystis. You can perform the cell culture, and after that you can look for the cytopathic effect, or you can perform indirect immunofluorescence test or neutralization test for their identification and detection. Serum can be collected for detecting antibodies against mycoplasma, chlamydial antigens, and antibodies and antiviral antibodies. Serum procalcitonin can also be a procedure for detection of organisms. Okay, so here you can see the specimen collection. Specimen collection, we have seen sputum is a good. We've already talked about this, and then the approach for laboratory diagnosis we have seen. So first we will perform gram staining. An acceptable specimen is that which is within less than 10 squamous epithelial cells per low power field, that is 100x, and the presence of more than or equal to 25 polymorphonuclear leukocytes per 100x field. Then we can perform Ziehl-Neelsen staining for detection of acid-fast bacilli suggestive of Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Then we can also look for organisms like diphtheria using Albert stain. Then we can go for Zimsa stain that can be used for detection of P. xeroviki. We can perform culture using blood agar. 5% sheep blood agar can be used, can be incubated under 5% of carbon dioxide environment overnight. For diphtheria, again, we can use low plus serum slope and potassium tellurate agar. For fungal agents, we can perform it on Saprotextrose agar, for example, such as Candida albicans. Antibiotic sensitivity test is done if Streptococcus pneumoniae is isolated to detect penicillin resistance. Streptococcus pneumoniae, if Staphylococcus aureus is isolated in healthcare associated pneumonia, HAP to detect methicillin resistance, that is MRSA. If Klebsiella pneumoniae is isolated in hospital associated infections, to detect extended spectrum beta lactamase ESBLs, which will result in resistance to many antibiotics, and for other organisms isolated in ventilator associated pneumonia and hospital associated pneumonia. Also, we should look for all these ESBLs. Serology is to make serological diagnosis of infections by mycoplasma, Pneumonia specific tests using Mycoplasma antigens are very sensitive. If these are not available, the Streptococcus mg agglutination test showing significant titer more than or equal to 1:20 or cold agglutination test with a significant titer of more than 1:32 can be performed. To make a diagnosis of infection due to chlamydia, tests are detecting antigen or antibody can be used. Chlamydial antigens, particularly lipopolysaccharide antigen, can be detected by microimmunofluorescence, that is micro-IF or ELISA test. Molecular methods are being also increasingly used for detection of particular genes. Procalcitonin is another biomarker which is elevated in invasive pneumococcal diseases, including pneumonia, and other levels are monitored to determine prognosis and response to the treatment. Okay, so again, this is algorithm or approach to the diagnosis of pneumonia. So expected questions on this particular topic can be this: you have to describe pathogenesis and laboratory diagnosis of respiratory tract infection, which includes URTI and LRTI, or you can be asked a short note on URTI or LRTI. So thank you, students. Here we stop with this particular topic of respiratory tract infections. I hope you have understood all the aspects of the topic. If you have any problem related with the topic, you can reach anytime to us. We are always present in the Department of Microbiology. Thank you so much. For marking your attendance, please write your roll number and name in the comment section. Thank you so much.